Welcome. I am your host, Keith, your man of letters, here to bring you knowledge, information, and hopefully some entertainment. Um, the reason why I haven't done a reading by candlelight in such a long time, long story short, software update means I can't use my computer anymore to run lives until I fix my computer because it's been messing up. So, because I haven't been able to fix the computer, it's been like over 2 weeks now. It's been like a month actually since I did the last one. Um, I'm just gonna run it off my phone, and the audio is not nearly as good because I don't have my cool microphone. The visuals not as good because I don't have my nice camera. But sometimes you just gotta press forward, even if it's not perfect. Super bummed though, but what can you do? Um, Nice to see you guys again though. I do love the ambience of the readings by candlelight. Huey, what's cracking, my dude? Alchemy of Life, nice to see you. Pepper Jackie, first time seeing your name. How's it going? Thank you guys for joining the live. We'll be having fun tonight. Pour your drinks, pack your oregano. See if I can get more light on my face. You can't hear me that well? Fuck. Damn. How about the rest of you? Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear me? The music is the Da Duke flute. I believe it's Armenian. As per usual, if you guys are checking in this live after the live has commenced, I usually start these things in about 10 to 15 minutes in just to give people a chance to trickle in so you guys can do some yoga, stretch it out, roll up your oregano, do your thing. Um, yeah, how you guys been? It's only been a couple minutes. Tonight, thanks, Alchemy. Emery, night, sky. Is that night? Night sky goddess. Thanks for checking in, night sky goddess. Thanks for checking in. I feel like if you're a night sky goddess, this might be your perfect ambience. Um, Tonight we got the. What do we have? We're burning the beeswax candles, a couple blacks, a couple reds. Um, I just got new frankincense, Boswellia sacra, green hojari frankincense. Oh no, I blew my candle out. And it smells fucking divine with the music and the frankincense that I'm about to put on the coal. Right here you see a little coal burner, which you can buy on my Etsy shop, little resin kits. I feel like I'm in a sort of 12th century palace. Oh, it doesn't get better, you guys. It does not get, well, it could get a little better, but thanks for being here, you guys. Waiting for my paycheck so I can splurge on. Oh wait, here we have Pepper Jackie. The subject of Interview with the Devil is basically Napoleon Hill himself sits down to interview the devil himself, and Napoleon Hill then goes on to ask the devil how it is that he manipulates and corrupts the world, how to notice that, and how to free ourselves from that corruption. And it's a very interesting dialogue between the devil and Napoleon Hill. We're quite a bit of ways in, and this chapter, I'm not sure how long it is. this is actually a short chapter. This one won't take us very long. It's called The Seeds of Fear. Wow, prosperity and light reversal work. Everyone, hit up Alchemy of Life if you need that spell work done. Um, I've finally got my resin kit together. The one I've been talking about. 7 different resins and 7 guided meditations. Each resin and each guided meditation is for a specific chakra. So the kit comes with the 7 resins, the coal burner, a bunch of coals, of course, and the guided meditations. I'm not sure if I want to just give away the guided meditations for free because they're video format or charge form. I might end up just giving them away for free, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I would like to charge for them because it took me forever to make, but we'll see. Um, you guys will get them one way or another. So that's going to be getting. I have um, a huge order of the brass burners coming in because they ran out on the Etsy. So that's all I'm waiting on. Once those are in, we're about to be getting weird on here, y'all. We're about to be getting weird. Let me see if you guys can see the smoke coming out of my resin burner, though, because this is like my favorite part. We'll get started in just a couple seconds, y'all. You probably can't see that. Nah, it's alright. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midnight Society. If you got your oregano, light it up because we're about to be kicking this bee off in just a couple seconds. Jenny Pete, good evening. Nice to see you. This one's to y'all. Speaking of prosperity, alchemy of life, I just had one of my biggest. I gotta check the numbers, but I think I might have just had my biggest Etsy week in sales, and I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited. Um, Shout out, guys. Shout out to Ashira because she helped out a lot with that. She happened to put me on blast at the same time I was having a big sale week, so it was good. It was really fucking good. Really excited about that. Blessing 0110. For the homies. Pepper Jackie, it's oregano because it's oregano. Someone's got to explain oregano to Pepper Jackie. I can't put myself on blast. You guys got to help me out with that. Gotta keep it low pro though. Prosperity does come in many ways. Unfortunately, I've been stuck on monetary prosperity, which I know is not the one we should be focused on. But it's just, I don't know. It's been one of those kind of fucking years, you know. But no, I feel you, man. I feel you, and I'm feeling the shift in prosperity in all areas of my life. So I hear you on that, and thank you actually for the reminder. So what do you guys say? We're ready? You ready for this? Oregano. Is that good skunk? Is that good? Thank you guys. Thank you for helping me out on that. You know what's funny? I'm gonna actually start selling oregano on my Etsy channel, like the oregano that you put on pizza and spaghetti, not like the oregano. And people are gonna be like, "What? Matt Letters is slanging oregano on here?" Nice. Okay, who's ready? Remember, smash that like button at the beginning live on the podcast because I'm making these into podcasts now. If you're listening to this on the podcast, what up, you crazy heads? Thanks for kicking it with us. Whether you're driving in your car or you're falling asleep at night, happy to be helping out with this journey of yours. Um, you're listening to your host, Keith, your man of letters, here to bring you knowledge, information, and a bit, hopefully a whole bunch of entertainment. Um, let's go. Interview with the Devil. Part 8, 9, whatever part this is. Seeds of fear. I have often wondered why your opposition, what we earthbound call God, does not annihilate you. Can you tell me why? Because the power is as much mine as his. It is as available to me as him. That is why I've been trying to get over to you. The highest power in the universe can be used for constructive purposes through what you call God, or it can be used for negative purposes through what you call the devil. And something more important still, it can be used by any human being just as effectively as by God or the devil. You make far reaching claims. Can you prove this? Yes, it would be better if you proved it for yourself. The devil's word is not worth much among you earthbound sinners. Neither is God's word. You fear the devil and refuse to trust your God. Therefore, you have but one source available through which you may appropriate the benefit of universal power. And that is by trusting and using your own power of thought. This is the direct road to the universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. There is no other road available to any human being. Why have we earthbound not found the road to infinite intelligence sooner? Because I have intercepted you and led you off the path by planting in your minds thoughts which destroy your power to use your minds constructively. I have made it attractive to use the power of infinite intelligence to attain negative ends through greed, avarice, lust, envy, even hatred. Remember, your mind attracts that which your mind dwells upon. To divert you away from my opposition, I had only to feed you on thoughts helpful to my cause. If I understand what you if I understand what you are saying, you're admitting that no human being need fear the devil or worry about how to flatter God. That is precisely it. This admission may put a crimp in my style, but I have the satisfaction of knowing it may also slow down my opposition by sending people direct to the source of all power. So, this is why there's no text that says Napoleon Hill was a hermeticist or into alchemy, but the things that he talks about constantly are direct, almost direct quotes. So he asked the question to the devil. Um, he says that humans don't need to fear devil or worry about flattering God. And this is an idea from the Hermetic texts, is that the all, God, whatever you want to call it, is that it's almost blasphemous to assume that that infinite being can even be flattered, as if it was lowly enough to take on raw human emotions and tendencies, such as susceptibility to flattery, um, being one example. So, Here you have it, another case. It's not about flattery. That allness is it's deeper than that. I feel like I might have read this in the last one, but fuck it, we'll just keep going. In other words, if you cannot control people through negative bribes or fear, then you wish to kick over the entire apple. Then you wish to kick over the entire apple cart and show people how to directly go to God. Are you, by any chance, in politics too? Your technique seems frightfully familiar. Am I in politics? If I am not in politics, who do you believe starts depressions and forces people into wars? Surely you would not lay this at the door of my opposition. As I have already told you, I have allies in all walks of life to help me in connection with all human relationships. Why don't you take over the churches and use them outright in your cause? Do you think I am a fool? Who would keep alive the fear of the devil if I subdued the churches? Who would serve as a decoy to attract the attention of people while I manipulate their minds if I do not have some agency through which to sow the seeds of fear and doubt? The cleverest thing I do is to use the allies of my opposition to keep the fear of hell burning in the minds of the people. Once people fear something, no matter what, I will keep a grip on them. I am beginning to see your scheme. You use the churches to plant the seed of fear and uncertainty and indefiniteness in the minds of people. These negative states of mind cause people to form the habit of drifting. This habit crystallizes into permanency through the law of hypnotic rhythm. Then the victim is helpless to defend himself. Is that right? Hypnotic rhythm, then, is something to be watched and respected. A better way of stating the truth is that hypnotic rhythm is something to be studied, understood, and voluntarily applied to attain definite desired ends. Well, if the force of hypnotic rhythm is not voluntarily applied to attain definite ends, may it be a great danger? Yes, and for the reason that it operates automatically. If it is not consciously applied to attain a desired end, it can and it will operate to attain undesired ends. Take the simple illustration of climate, for example. Anyone can see and understand that nature forces every living thing and every element of matter to adjust itself to her climates. In the tropical, she creates trees which bear fruit and reproduce themselves. She forces the trees to adjust themselves to her scorching sun. She forces them to put out leaves suitable for protection against the rays of the sun. These same trees could not survive if removed to Arctic regions where nature has established an entirely different culture. In the colder climate, she creates trees which are adjusted to survive and reproduce themselves. But they could not survive if transplanted in the tropical regions. In the same manner, nature clothes her animals, giving to those in each different climate a covering suited to their comfort and survival in that climate. In a similar manner, nature forces upon the minds of men the influences of their environment, which are stronger than the individual's own thoughts. Children are forced to take on the nature of all influences of those around them unless their own thoughts are stronger than the influences. Nature sets up a definite rhythm for every environment, and everything within the range of that rhythm is forced to conform to it. Man alone has the power to establish his own rhythm of thought, providing he exercises this privilege before hypnotic rhythm has forced upon him the influences of his environment. Every home, every place of business, every town and village, and every street and community has its own definite, discernible rhythm. If you wish to know what a difference there is in the rhythms of streets, take a walk up Fifth Avenue in New York, and then down the street in the slums. All forms of rhythm become permanent with time. Again with it, y'all. Rhythm. The law of rhythm. The law of rhythm is all about momentum. It's all about the swing of things. It's all about creating a certain pattern of energy. Um, so I do a lot of videos on where I deny this idea of going with the flow all the time. And my my input is this: it's stop going with the flow all the time. Um, and the reason why is because going with the flow is a very passive thing to do. What we should do instead is, with using our will, which is the masculine side, the masculine quality of energy, you use the will to force into existence your own flow, to create your own river, if you will, with its own banks, its own direction, its own destination, get into the river. Thus, using both masculine and the will and the pure solidifying and consolidating of an idea, a plan, and then using the feminine to then go inside of that river and go with the flow. What we're learning right here from the devil is after someone is in a flow for a certain amount of time, something the devil is calling hypnotic rhythm sets in, which basically says you're fucked in this lifetime. Once hypnotic rhythm has taken over you, it sort of crystallizes in your mind. And it's just a mindset. Basically, what he's saying is a mindset crystallizes in your mind, therefore making it damn near impossible for you to change the direction of your life, change the direction of your flow. If we are not dictating the flow of our lives, if we are having no say in the flow of our lives, and we're completely passive, um, we end up joining other people's flows. We end up joining other people's paradigms and other people's designs and ideologies and perceptions of the world. And when we follow that rhythm for long enough, we cannot escape. All right. I'm gonna pack up the frankincense burner again. Hold on. We ran out. I gotta set the vibe. You know what I mean? Some little frankincense beads. It's the best, y'all. It's the fucking best. Continuing. Smash that like button, y'all. I would really appreciate it. It would really help the cause. So carrying on, Napoleon asks the devil, does each individual have his own rhythm of thought? Yes. That is precisely the major difference between individuals. The person who thinks in terms of power, success, opulence sets up a rhythm which attracts these desirable possessions. The person who thinks in terms of misery, failure, defeat, discouragement, and poverty attracts these undesirable influences. This explains why both success and failure are the result of habit. Habit establishes one's rhythm of thought, and that rhythm attracts the object of one's dominating thoughts. So, hypnotic rhythm is something resembling a magnet, which attracts things for which it has a magnetic affinity. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. That is why the poverty stricken herd themselves into the same communities. It explains that old saying, misery loves company. It also explains why people who begin to succeed in any undertaking find that success multiplies with less effort as time goes on. All successful people use hypnotic rhythm, either consciously or unconsciously, by expecting and demanding success. The demand becomes a habit. Hypnotic rhythm. and the law of harmonious attraction. Translate it into its physical equivalent. And here you have Napoleon Hill having a conversation with the devil about more or less the law of attraction. This shit is not fucking new age, you guys. There's no such there's such thing as new age, but this ain't it. This is old fucking dawn of time shit right here. I don't care what religion you study. I don't care if it's Napoleon Hill and the devil, Odin and fucking a Valkyrie. I don't know, whatever Norse mythology creature. It's all here, black and white. Carrying on, Napoleon asks, in other words, if I know what I want from life, demand it, and back my demand by a willingness to pay life's price for what I want and refuse to accept any substitutes, the law of hypnotic rhythm takes over my desire and helps, by a natural and logical means, to transmute it into its physical counterpart. Is that true? That describes the way the law works. Science has established irrefutable evidence that people are what they are because of heredity and environment. They bring over them, or they bring over with them at birth, a combination of all the physical qualities of their numberless ancestors. After they arrive here, they reach the age of self consciousness, and from there on, they shape their own personalities and more or less fix their own earthly destinations as a result of the environmental influences to which they are subjected, especially the influences which control them during early childhood. These two factors have been so well established there is no room for any intelligent person to question them. How can hypnotic rhythm change the nature of a physical body which is a combination of thousands of ancestors who have lived and died before one is born? How can hypnotic rhythm change the influence of one's environment? People who are born in poverty and ignorance have a strong tendency to remain poverty stricken and ignorant all through life. What, if anything, can hypnotic rhythm do about this? Hypnotic rhythm cannot change the nature of the physical body one inherits at birth. But it can and it does modify, change, control, and make permanent one's environmental influences. If I understand what you mean, a human being is forced by nature to take on and become a part of the environment he chooses, or the environment that may be forced upon him? That is correct. But there are ways and means by which an individual may resist the influences of an environment he does not wish to accept, and also a method of procedure by which one may reverse the application of hypnotic rhythm from negative to positive ends. Do you mean that there is a definite method by which hypnotic rhythm can be made to serve instead of destroy one? I mean just that. It's another case, you guys. How things can serve us, they can destroy us. If a system in your life is destroying your life or destroying an area of it, there is a solution in the problem. There is a transmutation at the source. The thing that destroys, we learn, often has the equal capacity to create. Do not forget that. So Napoleon Hill goes on to ask how this can happen. Tell me how this astounding end may be attained. For my description to be of any practical value, it will be necessarily lengthy because it will have to cover 7 principles of psychology which must be understood and applied by all who use hypnotic rhythm to aid them in forcing life to yield that which they want. Then break down your description into 7 parts, each giving a detailed analysis of one of the 7 principles, with simple instructions for its practical application. That's it. I definitely read that chapter the last time because we were supposed to start with definiteness of purpose. Um, Thanks, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll stick around for Q&A as we normally do. Thanks for kicking it. Um, I'm thinking maybe we could even do definiteness of purpose, but it might be kind of long. Oh yeah, it's pretty long. Or did I read definiteness? Interesting. There's a lot of this book left, you guys. There's a lot of this book left. How you guys doing out there? You holding up? Self-discipline. A self-elevation. Tell me how your spell word business works. I'm curious to hear about that. Might have to hit you up for some spell magic. Ooh, Royal Power asks me about dimethyltryptamine. Candy Makowski, don't know if you're still here, but what's cracking? If you guys just checked in, we got done reading the reading. It was a short one tonight. We're sticking around for Q&A and just straight kicking it with the homies. So feel free to take your shoes off and stay a while, make yourself at home, introduce yourselves. Um, Victoria Clark, blessings tonight. Um, Royal Power, Angela Bailey, Self Elevation, Phoenix King, what's cracking? Steiger Daytona, hello, good evening. John Smith, I know I need to start hitting you up on just the um, WhatsApp to let you know when I'm checking in because the notifications do so. I'll answer your question on DMT in just a sec, though I've never tried it, so I can't speak too much on it. Aloha. Candy Makowski. Um, well said, John Smith. Um, yeah, the chapter was super practical. The rest of this book looks like it's going to be the exact things to do um, to set hypnotic rhythm. Because, shameless promo, I talk about this in my book a lot when it comes to manifesting and attracting. Um, I'll try to give you the synopsis of it. But this chapter, and I'm guessing the rest of the book, is going to be about something the devil calls hypnotic rhythm. Um, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're hypnotized to a certain rhythm. Once that rhythm is engraved, we cannot break free from it. Uh, huh. Um, oh, that's right, my book. Basically, people say you create what you think about. Your thoughts create things, and while this is true, while thoughts do create things, um, there's two different kinds of thoughts. First, you have your um, conscious thought. Like right now, I'm having a thought about a red candle. Now I have the thought about the red candle. I stop having the thought. The thought goes away, right? So that's your conscious thought. That's your sort of ego thought, the precise thought. And then you have the subconscious thinking. Now your subconscious mind works differently than your conscious mind in that it's broadcasting thoughts 24/7. So basically, when we want to manifest things, we don't want to get it in the conscious mind. We want to plug those thoughts into the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is firing on all cylinders 24/7. Think of the physical job of the subconscious mind. So my conscious mind can speak, decides when to speak. Right now I want to talk, yada yada yada, and right now I don't. Right? It's moment to moment bodily functions. Now, your subconscious mind controls things like breathing, or your heartbeat, or um, the constriction out. Right? This is all subconscious stuff that happens 24/7 without us having to think about it. The subconscious mind is infinitely more powerful than the conscious mind, um, and it operates in a particular way though. So the trick with the subconscious mind is it's very, 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 very hard to program the subconscious mind. It takes a great deal of input to manipulate it. However, as a balance, because there's a balance to all things, once the subconscious mind is programmed thoroughly, it's very, 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 very hard to break that train of thought, which ties in beautifully to this idea that we're getting from the devil about hypnotic rhythm. Because the devil says your environment can program you. Of course, you can deny that existence and create your own, but if you're not smart and you're not using your willpower to determine your own hypnotic rhythm, a hypnotic rhythm will be determined for you, most likely by your surroundings. And, and once that hypnotic rhythm crystallizes, takes form, again, you're fucked because it's incredibly hard to break a rhythm, a habit that we've set up deep in our subconscious mind. Um, so again, when it comes to manifesting, when it comes to creating, when it comes to not even manifesting and creating, doing fucking anything. You want to buy a house? You want to buy a car? Um, you want to quit smoking? Um, you want to read every night? Like these are all rhythms that we have to be put in place and that are not easy to put in place. They're actually incredibly difficult to put into place, but as they should be. Right? We shouldn't be easily programmed at our core selves, at our deepest operating system. It should not be something that's easily manipulated for good cause. It's a good thing that you can't break habits very easily. Otherwise, you'd be fucking drifters, like the devil calls them. You drift from one thing to the next constantly, just fucking leaf in the wind. Whatever way the wind blows is whatever way you blow, and we don't want that. We want to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and drive a fucking stake in the ground and make decisions of our own volition. But energy. It takes a lot of energy to do these things. It takes a lot of energy to program your mind. You know, they say your subconscious mind is like the ocean. It's deep, fast. It's like fluid. Again, the law of correspondence, as above, so below. It's a perfect analogy of the subconscious mind because, like water takes a lot of energy to heat up, and it has to lose a shit ton of energy to cool down. Um, just like the mind, it takes a lot of the subconscious mind takes a lot of energy to be manipulated, right? But once it's changed, it's very hard to change back. Um, this is why coastal cities have more moderate climates than inland cities. I live in Southern California, which is technically completely a desert, but you travel 4 miles inland and the temperature goes to 120 degrees, while the desert along the coast, we rarely get above 105 where I'm at along the coast, and we rarely get above 100 and even less above 105. Like and again, it stays moderate here because of the ocean, because of water moderates all things. It's this sort of universal, what do they call it? Solvent. Um, Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but what I'm getting at is the subconscious mind is like water. It takes a lot to program it. It takes a lot to change to raise the vibration or to manipulate the vibration. But once it does get manipulated thoroughly, it won't change. Um, y'all. Sorry for all the clicks and clickety click clicking clicky clicks. My computer does weird things sometimes. Um, that being said, Pepper Jackie, the artist, the Egyptian sounding flute in the background is off of a YouTube video. I don't know the artist, but just type in Daduk, Daduk flute, and a lady's face will pop up. It'll say Armenian flute or something like that, and that's what I'm listening to. What data do you have to back that theory up? Curious. Pepper Jackie, the theory on water. Um, which part? Elizabeth John, what's cracking? My music is in my car right now, unfortunately. Data I have on the subconscious mind and the ocean. Well, if you just research the properties of water, it water is a mediator of climates. Anytime you have a large body of water, the surrounding climate will be mediated because it takes a lot of energy to heat water and it takes a lot of energy to cool water. So because of that, it moderates the surrounding area. I don't know what the fuck that's called. I just learned about it in one of my ecology classes. Um, as far as the subconscious mind working the same way, um, but I don't have data. I basically just used the well-known fact that it's really hard to break habits. Um, and in the spiritual community, the subconscious mind is always connected to water. That's not a fact. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like. There's no fact that the subconscious mind is like water. I just thought it was interesting that both science corroborated with a spiritual um, teaching about the subconscious mind being like water, and that it's interesting that they share similar qualities. But I'm not sure if that answered your question or not. Theory: if the subconscious mind and it not being able to be broken. I don't think I said the subconscious mind can't be broken, and if I did say that, I definitely didn't mean to say that. I will correct myself right now if I did say that. The subconscious mind can for sure be fucking broken. Like anything can be broken, you guys. We live in the third dimension. Like shit gets real out here. Like possibilities are endless. Um, what I meant to say about the subconscious mind is that it's difficult to change the state of the subconscious mind. It takes a lot of input to change the subconscious mind. Um, for example, if you want to start any new habit, thoughts about money, or say you want to meditate for half an hour every day for the next year. It's going to take a lot of fucking willpower, and your willpower basically programs your subconscious mind by forcing you to do something every single time, whether you want to do it or not. Um, that actually is called neuroplasticity. And I don't know what field of science or study that is, but um, neuroplasticity is the study in which the channels of the brain can be changed. So you can actually rewrite the pathways of your brain so that going to the gym is literally, neurologically speaking, an easier pathway for the brain to do. It's just like unhinges this bridge and hooks up to that bridge, and all of a sudden it's easier for you to go to the gym, because the decisions that you've made have rewired your brain, but those decisions take a long time. Like, again, you have to rewrite your subconscious mind, and the brain takes a lot of energy, and that's what I'm getting at. Um, the blue and greens are returning, and the moon is still a spacecraft. Um, the moon is a spacecraft. I need to do more research on the blue and greens, though. I'm not hip. I'm not hip with it yet, you guys. I'm not hip with it. Um. Well, shit, y'all. Main motivator for human technological advancements. You guys have anything else to say? Should we call it a night? Is it a short one tonight? Maybe we've been on for almost an hour. It's not that short. So, good luck, son. No, I feel you, Pepper. Um, oh man, what up, Choice? How's it cracking? Everyone say it up to Choice and go listen to his music. Um, give me one. Choice, you missed it. You missed the reading by candlelight. We already slayed. You want me to source? Thanks, Jenny Pete. What's a good way to get into spellwork magic? Um, good way to get into fucking Google? Shit, I don't know. I mean, there's some. um, as you guys know, I lean a little more on the philosophical, mind science of the Hermetic philosophy, not necessarily the straight up spell casting, unless it involves plants. You guys know how I feel about the spell casting and the asking demons for help and blood sacrifices. All is mental and by a candle. um, well, there's a lot of good sources for Um, Actually, Alchemy of Life, if Alchemy is still on here, Phoenix King might still be on here. Those are two good sources. You guys should definitely contact those two. Ooh. um, Glad you learned a lot, Jenny Pete. Elizabeth, John, I could source whatever the hell you want me to source. I'm the fucking source. I am master of source, is what I am. I'm the fucking goddamn source master. Choice has some really good philosophical questions. You should have him hit us, grace us with one of his questions. I've been trying to get him on one of my lives forever now, but it might be too late because I can't run Google Hangouts anymore. Um, Pepper Jackie, what is your spiritual path? My spiritual path is that the closest one I found to home that's ringing true is a Hermetic philosophy, which isn't so much a spiritual path as it is a philosophy. And the thing I like about philosophies is that you sort of have to dissect it yourself and make sense of it yourself. It's not dogmatic. That's the cool thing about philosophy is it doesn't turn into dogma, like even spirituality is turned into a dogma. Um, and the core belief of the Hermetic philosophy is that there is an infinite being that, for the lack of better words, we call the All. The All is God, is whatever. Um, and we are a thought inside of that thing. Um, we are Hamlet to Shakespeare, Frodo fucking Baggins to J.R. Tolkien. You know what I mean? Harry Potter to Rowling. That's us to the All. Thoughts, right? And there are and within that thought, life exists. All the dimensions exist. All time exists. All everything that's ever existed ever and will exist ever exists in the mind of the All. And what's governing existence are these seven principles that I talk about in my book, wherever the hell my book is. My book, Seven Pillars. That's what the book is about. It's the seven laws that govern existence. As above, so below. They govern the dream world. They govern the waking life. They govern all the spiritual planes, whether it's fucking 2D, 3D, fucking 7-Eleven. Um, and I guess that's the path you could call it. But um, Jake Smith asks, how do you use mental transmutation in your life? Ooh, good question. Um, so it works differently with everyone. I'm not gonna say you guys should do it this way, but it's what I do. It's what makes the most sense for me. So when you transmute something, um, first rule of transmutation is you can't transmute two different things into the same thing. It has to follow the same line. So, for example, you can transmute hot to cold or cold to hot, but you can't transmute cold to horse or hot to candle, right? And that's because opposites are alike. Polarity teaches us that opposites are alike but vary in degree. Hot and cold, same fucking thing. The only difference is the degree at which they exist along the scale. So the way I mentally transmutate, is mostly on my emotional states. And say I'm afraid of something. Knowing that opposites are alike, I know that my fear is actually courage. Fear is masked as courage, um, which allows me to sort of see fear on this line. That so fear is here on a line. Just force almost the energy, or force this a little better. Force the energy, or force the quality of energy, which is fear, towards courage. And I usually will trick my brain. Like, for example, I understand that you cannot have courage without fear. Right? Everyone wants to be a courageous person, for example. Everyone wants to be a hero, for example. But unless there's something to overcome, courage is useless. Without a villain to kill, being a hero is useless. We forget that we have to have our equal and opposing force to overcome it for it to mean anything. Why I always say you can't get rid of hate. You can't get rid of the negative side of something because the negative side of something defines the positive side of something. So when you ask me how do I how do I transmute, I am best at transmuting my mental states, and that's purely seeing that whatever negative state I have is the same exact thing as a positive state, and I by will need to shift my awareness to the higher frequency of courage. Or I do this a lot with performing music. I've been able to dial this in. Like I used to get super nervous when I was performing on stage, especially. Well, I would get super nervous, and then in my head I would get all riled up. Now I see that nervousness as excitement. It's the same energy, but the nervousness has shifted to excitement, right? Because nervousness, anxiety, excitement, anxiousness, they're all sort of the same qualities of energy existing at different spots of the scale. So I kind of shifted my nervousness to excitement. Um, the anxiousness wasn't a negative anxious, it was an anxiousness to perform, to like sort of let my heart out, right? So I was seeing it as an opportunity for something to overcome. Um, of course, it doesn't work every fucking time, right? I'm by no means a god of this shit. If I was, you would see my face on billboards growing fucking forests the size of the Sahara Desert, but that hasn't happened yet. So I'm getting better, but that's how I transmute shit, at least mentally. Um, yeah, Phoenix King actually is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to um, spell work. So definitely, if you guys have questions, and so is Alchemy of Life. He might not be on, but he usually checks in. Woody and Buzz to Andy. Steve Choice knows what's up. Jenny. 7-Eleven Dimension. Cold to Horse. Maybe the movie Glass. Nice. That was actually, that's like the Bible verse. They will walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil. Um, yeah. I mean, if you're trying to get deep, if you're trying to get spiritually technical on the spell casting, I think John Smith and I actually talked about this. Everything can be a spell. To me, spell work and spell casting is about imbuing your mental energy onto something so that that something carries that energy with it. So everything originates in mind, right? And your thoughts have measurable frequencies. Um, it's called an electrocephalogram, I think is how you pronounce it, which measures the frequency of a thought. And thoughts have unique imprints because they have unique, because thoughts tend to be unique. Um, so this is the theory. I haven't tested this, but I feel like when it comes to spell work, this is what people are doing. They're imbuing their thoughts onto things, and those things carry and resonate those thoughts out into the world. Just like the freezing of the water molecules by Dr. Emoto. He had the thought, and the thought converted into a word written on a piece of paper, which had that mental energy, that mental capacity. It was put on water, that water was frozen, and the energy from that original thought affected the water enough to change the structure of the crystals under a microscope. Um, so I don't do spell work traditionally, though I'm down for it. That shit's actually super cool, like the candles and the herbs and shit. Actually, I guess I kind of do. I do plant stuff all the time, so what am I saying? Um, Hope that helped. Weird question. Do you trim your candle wicks? Yes. Like the one over here to my left should be trimmed. Whenever it flares up and makes that little mushroom cap on the top of your wick, you need to cut that off because that fucks up the flow of the wax. And I think you're only supposed to let it be like a quarter of an inch, but I definitely trim the candles. That you're right. That was definitely a weird question. What is the purpose of casting spells? Any and all purpose, I would guess. Um, Casting spells is manipulating reality. If someone wants to manipulate reality, they cast a spell. So, at its most fundamental, I would say manipulating reality. Right? Like it's super broad. Then I guess construction is spell work because you're turning trees into houses. Ooh, John Smith. Well, fucking said, John Smith. Everyone, go read John Smith's comment. It does have a mushroom. Yeah, yeah. No, we're definitely not talking. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure quote unquote dark magic is using spell work to influence other people, right? And positive spell work is when you're doing spells for other people. Like, or did I get that wrong? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. There's different kinds of spell work. There's like, it's bad if you do spell work for yourself, but good if you do spell work for others. There's like, that's like a form of spell work, but I'm sure someone in the group. There is no. There's definitely a positive and a negative, Elizabeth. No, that's there's definitely positive and negative. Like, I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying when you like there's no positive and negative and like everything is relative, but you still have to break down a circumstance to a finite point where a certain circumstance does actually have a right and wrong. Because to say that there's never positive or negative is to say that there's no direction to go in. So, like, let's say, for example, I want to make $100,000 next year. If I say I want to make $100,000 next year, there are decisions that I need to make that happen, and there are decisions that I can make that would make that not happen. And so I need a hierarchy of structure. I need a direction to go in, which means there are objective rights and objective wrong decisions to make with that thing that I want. So, like most things that the Hermeticists say, all truths are but half truths, and this idea that there's no such thing as a negative or a positive is both true and not true. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, I get it. No such thing as positive and negative. Like, I don't know. If you have a good enough imagination, you can turn any bad situation into a positive if you look out far enough. But when you get down to the micro level, there's fucking for sure bad decisions to make if you have a certain, unless you have no goals. If your goal is to be goalless, then yeah, there's no wrong decision. If you have absolutely no expectations of the world, if you don't want shit out of the world, if you're like just a Buddhist who doesn't care what happens, is completely passive, then I guess then, yeah, there's no such thing as good or bad because there's no direction. But I don't know. Rambling. Um, wouldn't it be more genuine to give that person your physical and mental energy rather than casting a spell and saying my work is done? Um, to give that person your physical and mental energy rather than casting a spell and saying that. Yeah, I mean, for sure, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, but then it's like some people believe that the spell work is better. Like someone might not agree with you. Someone could say consider themselves a master manipulator of the forces of nature, and if they casted a spell for you to make money, they're like, no, that's actually better. You know, who knows? Just who's maybe that shit does work. Oh, there is really no black or white light magic. I hear what you're saying. I've no, I misunderstood you, Liz. No, Elizabeth John, you're not crazy. Those are the type of thought. Those are the types of thoughts we like around here. Challenging the status quo. I like it. You guys know how I feel about burning the fossil fuels. I'm all about burning the fossil fuels. I say, burn all the fossil fuels, because the planet runs most optimal. Plants grow at 1,000 parts per million CO2. We are currently, I think, at someone Google it for me, 3 to 400 parts per million. So plants are basically dying right now. Plants die completely at 150 parts per million. And we were at 175 at the last ice age. Once it gets down to 150 per million, we're fucked. All the plants die, all the animals die, all the people die. Plants literally almost starved to death. So one could argue that pulling fossil fuels from the floor into the atmosphere is actually, when you look out far enough, a good thing for the planet. Because once you get carbon dioxide back up to 1,000 parts per million, plants flourish. Plants That's why greenhouse growers fucking pump carbon dioxide into their grow rooms. Like it's no surprise. It's like no sudden thing that plants like CO2. Um, of course, I'm playing devil's advocate, but that's still true. It is still true that plants thrive at higher CO2 levels. And I personally like plants more than people most of the time, so I'm all about the plants. Yeah, John Smith. That's a good point too. Um, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about casting spells. Like anytime you want to manipulate the natural world, probably with like your mind, would be considered spell work. Um, I feel like even manipulating someone is spell work to a certain degree because you're using your mind to influence them. We don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn. That's chaos magic right there, which is a whole different kind of magic. Thanks for the fact check, John Smith. Average for May peaking 414 parts per million. Now, John Smith, Google for me the optimal carbon dioxide level in parts per million for plants. And I believe it's at about I believe it goes from, depending upon the plant, 8 to 1,200 parts per million, with an average of 1,000 parts per million. Oh damn! If Choice is still here, Yo, Miles, Elizabeth John is on that next level with fucking Marvel Comics and um, like hitting meetings and hitting agendas and just super deep on that shit. You guys would hit it off for sure. You know who else is blue and green? Fucking Captain Planet. Captain Planet was also blue and green. Click, click, click. Sorry, guys. Click, click, click. Just the click master over here. Getting my shit together. Oh, Chimao. Breaking my balls right now. Damn it. Bummer. Damn, so even higher than 1,000 parts per million. That's interesting. So yeah, when I say I want people to burn fossil fuels, it's because I have this twisted idea in my head that if we burn all the fossil fuels, we'll just have a planet covered in green, where it just looks like some green planet out of Star Wars. Because I'm obsessed with jungles and forests and shit. Um, Maybe bad for humanity, but good for the planet. I don't know. Depends who you're asking. Thanos. um, that was a very Thanos thing to say, wasn't it? Hey, sometimes someone's got to keep it real. Thanos wanted balance. He wanted balance. Can't blame him. His execution was poorly chosen methods of execution. Um, no pun intended, but all right, y'all. I'm done. That's it. Going home. We're done. It was poorly. He was just doing his job. Fair. Oh, by the way, you guys. Ow, fuck, that shit's still hot. Um, Check out my Etsy shop. It's killing it. Check out my Patreon. It's also killing it. If you guys don't know, on my Patreon, depending upon what tier you choose, you can get 10 or 20% off my Etsy. So if you order from my Etsy shop, it would be wise to join the Patreon because the Patreon will literally pay for itself if you shop the Etsy shop. Um, it's hard for me to straight up ask for money for nothing. That's why I haven't started the Patreon. So this is a good way where I can ask for donations to support the channel, but also hook you guys up in the process. So I was like, fuck, Etsy shop's already going. Give them a discount. If they join the Patreon, you win, they win. You start taking over the world with the glow in the dark mushrooms and shit. Ready, break. Thank you to Steiger. Thank you, John Smith. Thanks, Miles, Only Choice. Thanks, Choice, for showing up and being homies. Um, Phoenix King. Who else? Thank you. Oh, someone was asking me about literature to research this shit. Um, you could study Dr. Emoto. That's extensive studies. He's a doctor out of Japan who studied the effects of consciousness on water molecules, which proved that um, water can store information via thoughts. Uh, the ocean thing, just fucking Google ocean and water storage or something like that. I don't even know what the term is called. I learned it in college. So I wouldn't be able to give you a more accurate of that. Masarimoto. Um, um, ooh, what did I read? I read The Social Animal when I was talking to you guys about the subconscious mind um, being difficult to program, etc. I was on a psychology book kick a few years ago, and the number one book suggested to read in all of psychology is called The Social Animal. So that's where I got that from. Social Animal is a fucking literal wealth of knowledge. That book. You want to know how humans work in the mind? Fucking study psychology. That book in particular. But yeah, um, that's it. Have a good night, you guys. Thanks.